Hey, what's happening? It's good old Ben Jafet again, aka Ben Sams, and the Rock and Roll Sensations, aka me. Um, Kind of on a rant earlier. If you haven't noticed, I'm wearing the same shirt as the Super Suckers video because I'm filming these on the same day.
Time drop. We say that a lot here on Pop.
Yeah. So let's do Record Store Day happened recently. That was the 19th of April. Because it was Saturday, it was before the wedding, which was Easter. That I was in. I was a groomsman. It was cool. But I'm not talking about being a groomsman because you guys don't want to hear about me being a groomsman. You want to hear about Record Store Day. Possibly. It was fun this year. The local record store, Sound Exchange, did a very good job. They always do. I love them to death. I love everyone that works there. Granted, there's only two people that work there, but they're good dudes. They always take care of us in town. I have never experienced a line with Record Store Day. There was a dude sitting there at 8 in the morning, and the store opened at 10 that day. He was staying there for 2 hours. It was a nice day, don't get me wrong. It wasn't like pissing the rain down or anything, but he hung tough. He was there like first in line. He's like, yeah, man, I just want to get this and this and this. I'm like, that's cool, dude. I'm not going to knock you. I was like sixth in line, and I showed up at 9:30. I figured I'd be like maybe the second person in line. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I made a Facebook post about getting like 90% of what I wanted. There was some stuff I didn't even realize had come out. I'm probably not going to be doing full reviews of these items because they're all good. Nothing was bad quality. The only issue I had last year was with a Stooges single that came out with a bad pressing. It was the Stooges on the A side and it was the Black Keys on the B side. Both sides playing No Fun by the Stooges. On orange vinyl. It looks really cool. It's just not really playable. But this Record Store Day kind of has a really light side, which I'm talking about now, and a super dark side, which I'll get to later. More of the good. I mean, like I said, I got pretty much everything I wanted. I got the Frank Zappa Don't Eat the Yellow Snow 7-inch. I got the Motorhead picture disc 12 of their new album. I got, what else did I get? The David Bowie 1984 7-inch. I got, the Ramones EP that was only available in England until that said point in time on Blue. It's a Blue 10-inch on Sire Records. I think that's everything if my memory serves me well. But yeah, a lot of cool stuff. Really happy. Everyone got pretty much everything they wanted. No one was super bummed in line. There were two things I really wanted that are super hard to get. The Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon soundtrack on pink vinyl, which is available on Spotify. So I can listen to it. I just don't have a hard copy of it. The one that I'm devastated I didn't get, but oh well, I can't really cry about it, is the Scott Pilgrim video game soundtrack on yellow vinyl. Both of those were retailing that day for about $25 to $35, which I wouldn't blink an eye at to pay. Especially the Scott Pilgrim soundtrack. Oh my god, it's so good. I have the Scott Pilgrim film soundtrack. The video game soundtrack is different. If you have the PlayStation 3 or an Xbox 360 or a PS4 or whatever the hell the other Xbox is, you can download that game. And the music in it is great. It's all 8-bit, like weird Japanese kind of sound and music. It's cool. I really like it a lot. The game's fun too. So those are the only two things I didn't get. Oh well, not both available on Spotify if you want to listen to them. Let's see. And okay, now we're going to talk about the dark side of it, which if you guys know who Paul Weller is, he was the lead singer of a band called The Jam and The Style Council, and he did solo records. Very, very talented musician. He released I believe a 7-inch, just exclusively in England, because that's where he's from, on Record Store Day. And it was a special song that he did just for Record Store Day. It's on any other album. I haven't got to hear it, obviously, because I don't think it's even pressed online right now. But the night before Record Store Day, he had seen on eBay that people were selling them already. Breaking street date, and 2, selling them for probably 10 times their value, maybe even 20 times their value, selling it for like $200. For a 7-inch, literally you'd get an A side, which is one song, and a B side, which is another song. If you guys are familiar with 45s and 33s and all that jazz. So basically, Paul Weller was like, you know what? I kind of poured my heart into it. I thought fans would appreciate it. People would get it and just listen to it and it'd be part of their collection. And, that's kind of what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be kind of like a Black Friday kind of thing where people are lining up for it. No one need to be fighting over it. Like no one fought when we were at the Sound Exchange. But yeah, like just for fans to appreciate it, for fans to be like, oh man, I got this Paul Weller because I'm into the Jam and things like that. And I don't know if he was doing it for a charity, which Paul Weller that seems like something he would do. So maybe part of the money went to that, and that's probably why he got a little bit more upset than he probably not should have been, but more upset just for the principle of it. So he said he's not going to do any Record Store Day releases ever again. Well, he's not the biggest name in the industry, obviously, but if probably in the next 5 or 6, maybe 2 or 3 years, you have enough artists saying, hey, you know what, Paul Weller's right. People are living and dying by selling these on eBay, the night before they come out, the day of release. A perfect example, that Blood Dragon soundtrack and that Scott Pilgrim soundtrack are on eBay right now for at least $100 a piece. At least. Most of my listings I'm seeing $250 to $300. And I'm talking literally for probably 12 songs on each one. All of which are all instrumental. None of them have words. So, don't get me wrong, that stuff's hard to write, but you catch my drift. So, basically, I'm not saying Record Store Day is going to end. I don't think it's ever going to, because it's a big draw. People come to record stores. People buy other stuff. Basically, this is a loss leader situation. Kind of like how Walmart does, where Walmart will have hey, Frozen is $12.99, but our bananas went up 14 cents a pound. Sure, I don't know how bananas work, but yeah, it gets you in the door. It gets you looking at other stuff. They don't make record stores don't make very much profit off of these items, but it gets you in the store, it gets you familiar with the store, makes you a valued customer, keeps you coming back, etc., etc. And that's a lot of the reason they do it, is to keep record stores viable, which they're doing well. They're not doing the best, but they're doing okay enough to where the hardcore record stores that want to remain open, that press themselves to sell a lot of records, that press themselves to have good connections for used records, will thrive and survive even through this. Again, we're not really in a recession now, but I won't get into anything like that. Times for any music industry right now is very, very difficult. So, again, this is a viable way for record stores to get people coming to the doors. It happens in the springtime, and then there's a smaller one that happens right around Black Friday. Now, the one for Black Friday, the titles are about cut in half, but the people that always put out records for Record Store Day are pretty much the same people that always do. There's always a Grateful Dead release. There's always, not always, but 90% of the time out of the past couple years they've been doing this, there's always a Dylan release. There's always a Dream Theater release, which is awesome. Things like that. David Bowie generally has releases. Ramones sometimes have releases. I've only seen this one that I got. So, more popular bands will have releases that have, B-sides and stuff like that haven't been released before. Or they're going to be like, hey, get London Calling on pink vinyl. That wasn't a Record Store Day release, I don't think. But that was recently, like 10 years ago. But yeah, it's like exclusive picture discs, exclusive album with an autograph inside, something to make it, or only 500 copies made, something to keep it viable, to get people to be like, oh man, I want to get that, like David Bowie's so great, I'll get the 7-inch of 1984, which is what I got. So, like I said, if the eBay scalpers keep at it, possibly within the next couple of years, you'll see a big drawback from the record company saying, we're not going to release that much stuff. Like, this is obviously a day that has become all about way too much consumerism instead of, the fans having a good time, which is what it should be. We're not going to put out half as much stuff, and then next year they won't put out half as much stuff. And then it'll just become this day where like 3 things are getting released and people are like, what the hell happened to it? And, you can say with just open earnesty, like, yeah, you guys totally screwed it up for everyone or the scalpers, excuse me, not the fans, by pressing stuff out on street date early, and demanding triple to quadruple to, 10 to 15 sometimes times the retail value of these items just because you lucked into having it first and you're just going to sell it because you're not a fan. Don't get me wrong, I'm a hardcore capitalist. Trust me, I'm a salesman. I understand the whole aspect of making money off of stuff. I get it. But in this case, it's going to absolutely kill this industry. And then it won't be fun anymore. Like, it won't be like one special thing that the crazy record collecting dude down the street, he has that one day a year, he just flips out and spends like $1,000 on stuff. He won't have it anymore. And that's just not right for him. That's not right for that kid down the street that's like just starting to get into like the Clash, It's not fair for any of those people that are just like, oh man, like Joe Strummer signed this. Obviously he's dead, so it'd probably be worth money. I'm just trying to think of an example. But you know what I'm getting at. You're taking away what's special for fans. And that's not right to do. So, but I'll make this a compliment sandwich and go back to the good side of it. Generally, at least in my town, the fans are very respectful of each other. They're like, hey man, what do you want? They got a couple copies of it. I'll make sure I don't take like 2 of them so you can have one. And that's how it should be. Literally no one fought, no one argued, no one was like pushing each other, no one was hitting anybody. It was very calm and cool. But if it becomes this thing where they're not going to be putting out as much stuff, then I'm not saying it's going to be the LA riots or anything like that, but it's going to be more temperamental. It'll be a day where I won't want to go out and do it because there might be like one copy of something. I'm not going to fight somebody for it. So, yeah, just think about that. if you are really big into vinyl, check out Record Store Day's Facebook page. They post a lot of cool stuff. They post a lot of news. They usually post release or titles that will be released and the actual like Record Store Day. Like I said, there's one that's going to be like around Black Friday, and there's one that happens in the springtime, which just happened. So keep on the lookout for it. Obviously, this is for 2014 that I'm talking about. That is the year, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is 2014.
Oh, lordy. Oh, Blazing Saddles comes out on 40th Anniversary Blu-ray tomorrow. The Sheriff is Near. So, you guys take her easy. And that's about it.